Hello, in this video tutorial we will be demonstrating how a school can leverage the features in Avantax eForms to prepare T2202 and T4A slips for students. Whether you are a university, college, a flying school, or trade school, you can use Avantax eForms to prepare these forms, file them with the CRA, and distribute the slips to the students. If you are in Quebec, eForms will also prepare the relevant Quebec slips. The purpose of this video is to attempt to do a very quick start-to-finish overview of using the software. In addition to this video, we also have a wide selection of shorter videos which cover specific topics from installation through to submitting your return to CRA. Here are the basic steps involved in the process. First, download and install eForms. Until you purchase a license, you can use eForms as a trial, which only has a few features disabled. Then, prepare an Excel spreadsheet containing your T2202 or T4A data. Note that if you have eForms Standard or Enterprise, then you can import your data from a spreadsheet. But if you have eForms Basic, you will need to enter the data manually at the keyboard. Then, you can import the data into eForms. Following the import, you would check your totals by looking at the summary and edit list. Then you can create an XML file for CRA. After it passes all validation, you can prepare your slips. Then, when you are ready, you can submit these slips to CRA. From here, you could print the slips and have them distributed. Alternatively, you can have eForms email password-protected slips to each student's email address. This feature requires eForms Enterprise. This screen is a flowchart of the basic processing steps of preparing the slips. If you want to examine it in more detail, please pause the video. So let's get started and do a quick run-through of eForms. Remember, this is going to be a speed run, so you may have to pause the video from time to time to look at it more carefully. Start eForms and log in if it asks you to. The first thing you have to do is open or create a database. This is where the system will store the data. File, New Database, and create a name for the database. Next, you would click Configure Current Database and select the forms that you're interested in. In this case, I'll pick the T2202. Pick Configure Database and wait for it to finish. The next thing you have to do is create a company. Go Company, New Company, and put in the name of your school. And say OK. At this point in time, you'll have to fill in the address and account information. For the purposes of speed, I'll select the company that I prepared beforehand that has this information already filled in. So in Company Setup, I've typed in the school name, the address, and the account information. If you're doing T4As, you may also have to type in the account number at the top. The next step would be to put contact information into the summary. In order to see the summary, go to Forms, Form Center, and pick Edit Summary. I've already typed in the contact information. The important thing is to make sure that you picked the school type. You'll be able to select from any one of these options, so you pick the one that's relevant to you. At this time, you're ready to set up the import template. eForms comes with a blank template for every form type that eForms is able to do. What you see on the screen now is a blank template for the T2202. You would enter the T2202 slip as one line per student. Here is some sample information. Type in the first and last name, their initial if they have one, their address, city, province, and postal code, the country, the tax year, the social insurance number is important, and the program name, the student number, and then the details of the terms that they studied and the months, plus the tuition. Once this is done, you will be able to do an import of the data. In order to do that, you would go into Tools, Import Data, Import from Excel file, browse to the file that you're importing, make sure that you have selected the tab with the name that has the data in it, and then import your data. In order to see what happened, you can go into Forms, CRA Forms, T2202, and Slips. At this point, you can see the slips that were entered. Using the VCR buttons at the top, you can skip through the slips or use this magnifying glass to look. At this point, you can also go to the summary and take a look at the slip counts and the totals. At this point, we recommend printing an edit list so that you can verify that the data is correct. In order to do that, go into Reports, Report Center, make sure that T2202 is selected, and then pick Edit List. Click on the button which says Select Used Fields. Look at the options to make sure that the orientation and other settings are the way you want them, and to do Print Preview. Here you can see a summary of all 4 students who have been enrolled in this program. Check carefully your contact information, account information, counts, and total to make sure that the information is correct. When you are ready, you can do a setup of your account information so that you'll be ready to do the electronic filing. Go into Setup, User Settings, and click on the Electronic Filing tab. You can see I typed in the address of the school and the contact information. This is what is required by CRA to prepare the filing. At this point, you'll be able to create the XML file. You go into Electronic Filing, Canada Revenue Agency, make sure that T2202 is picked, then pick XML file and validation report. If there were any errors in the data, they would appear here with instructions as to how to fix them. If there are no critical errors, you can look at the Warnings tab. And if you have any minor problems like invalid or missing social insurance numbers, they would appear here. If there are no errors and you are ready to proceed, you can click this Next button at the top, and there it would create the XML file for you. The XML file is available to be viewed if you push Advanced and go to File Location, and you'll see an XML file there which you can open in a browser if you like. If you scroll through it, you'll be able to see all the student information. Looking at the XML file is not mandatory, but some people want to do it. At this point, you would prepare your slips. Go back to the Report Center, make sure T2202 is selected, and then pick T2202 slips. eForms produces PDFs. So when you have selected the slips you want to print, click on Preview Print PDF, and you will be able to see the slips. You can print them and distribute them as soon as you're satisfied they are correct. In conjunction with printing the slips, you will also have to go back to that XML file you created and submit it to the CRA. This concludes the video, and remember, you can call technical support at any time. Thank you for listening.